All right, we're outside of the New York City Center where they're showing the Attack on Titan musical, and figured I'd ask two random people on the street what they're expecting.
I just found out that this is a musical. Hi, everybody. We are perfectly mid-pod on YouTube. We are here with
Emily,
Carlo,
Steve.
and we just watched Attack on Titan, the musical,
here in New York,
here in New York.
The theoretically
at the New York
traveling
City Center.
Yes,
musical.
a traveling musical, yes, an all-Japanese production of what, like the majority of season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first, at least the first half.
At least the first half.
First core.
The first
half of the first core. Attack on Titan season 1, part 1.1.
The final season.
Yes.
Prequel. And yeah, so Emily, you're really good at summarizing. So why don't you talk about it a little bit before we go into our videos?
Well, it's a 3-day run here, so it's October 11th through 13th. So we saw it on the second day, the Saturday. It started in Tokyo in 2023, and then Osaka, or maybe the other way around, and then now it's making its way through New York. And basically, I mean, it's Attack on Titan in musical form, but
if you somehow don't know what Attack on Titan is, come
yeah.
back when you've learned what that is.
yeah. But
Why are you watching this podcast?
Yeah. How do you watch anime and not know Attack on Titan?
Overall, it's you follow your comrades Armin, Mikasa, and Eren through their trials and tribulations to get into the scout regiment, and they interject with a lot of fun music and dance sequences. There's break dancing, there's puppets, there's singing, there's a lot of set design.
There's blow-up hands.
There's blow-up hands. Yeah. And overall, I mean, came in with, I don't know what kind of expectations I was thinking, but I was very pleasantly surprised. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's a really good thought. What did you come in expecting, Steve?
I came in expecting kind of expecting what I got. So I was expecting that the weakest part would be the story, just because why is the story a musical? You know, how do you convey so much information? And sometimes they chose to literally just info dump in the most literal definition of info dumping.
Narrative.
But I was expecting it to be more about spectacle. Yes. And that's mostly because of like watching and reading Oshinoko and some other like manga and anime that have been about acting, and also just like watching Japanese TV and understanding how they are with like, emphasis on overacting and what their music is like. So. But I was not expecting what the puppets, the aerial, like the breakdancing. I don't know. Part of me half expected because it's Japan, but I wasn't ready for what it was going to be.
Yeah.
It's your first Japanese, because you studied there, right?
Yeah.
So is this, like,
I don't
your
think
first
I mean, you guys know I'm not big on musicals,
theater.
So I think this is definitely my first musical. I'm trying to think if I've seen.
Wait, your first musical period?
No, Japanese musical.
Oh, okay.
My first Japanese musical. I've seen a couple musicals. My first musical was Chicago, and I fell asleep in it.
I agree.
Yeah. It was on the scholarship trip, actually.
Yes, we were actually on that trip.
We might have been falling asleep on each other.
Yes.
But it's definitely the first Japanese musical I've seen. I've maybe seen stage plays. And admittedly, musicals not my thing. Like, I much prefer just story acting. Yeah. But it was really cool. I enjoyed it.
That's good. Yeah. I'm to your point about like the overacting and everything. I first of all, I didn't know it was a musical going in, even though when I texted you guys about, hey, there's an Attack on Titan musical, do you want to go? We were like, this is gonna be crazy, and then Carlo blacked that part out. Yeah, it was just like Attack on Titan on stage.
You're like,
amazing.
Not even finishing the sentence.
I'm in, dude. Yeah. So I didn't come in expecting a musical, but I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I think what's interesting, just in general, it made me realize about anime is that so much of anime is this heightened drama, and musicals are very much the same. Yeah. So it's almost like a perfect pairing. Like it's an unpredictable or unpredictable is not the word, but like an unlikely, unexpected pairing of two things that fit together almost perfectly.
Yeah. I mean, there are, and Emily, you talked about this, a lot of anime musicals in Japan.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't gone to one before, but there are a ton. Like, every time I've been, there are plenty on stage.
The reason I was asking about expectations is because my like exposure to anime musicals is just the My Hero clips that we've seen online.
Those are
and those, I mean, My Hero in and of itself is a very, popular shonen, but it's also very comedic. So like people
it lends itself to that.
Like the actors are leaning into the funny aspects. They're leaning into the tropes. So it's like it's not as serious as like
You
a
kinda have to.
storyline.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what side of the pendulum that they were gonna swing. Like, is it gonna air
Especially
more
with Attack on Titan being
serious?
such a different tone.
Yeah, exactly. So like I was very pleasantly surprised, and I think they did an amazing job. I think the set designs was awesome. I think they sound mixed very well. I think
Let's stick on set design.
Yeah.
Talk about the set design.
so. I mean, New York City Center, so it's not a Broadway theater.
But it's the size of.
But it's
a
a size of a Broadway theater, and there was a lot of utilization of actual physical sets that were modular and could move around, and they could be used different ways. And there was really interesting use of screens. So like, Attack on Titan, right? They're like flying through the air on the ODM gear, and they're fighting, right? And so there was very interesting interpretations to like of those scenes, and they were very smart the way that like a screen would go down and they were manipulating behind
So
the
you had wire work, right? People would fly on their ODM gear, what they called vertical maneuvering gear.
There were some translation. There were translation choices in general that I didn't like, but not just word choices. But I'm like, there was definitely a lot lost in the translation for whoever did it. Even just the bits I could pick up on, I'm like, okay, they really simplified some lines versus what's being said.
Interesting at the inconsistency, considering they literally have like a Bible of
and presumably like you just asked the English, whoever translates the anime, I'm sure they could have gotten to do it,
or just watched the episode.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they would have people like Levi flying on ODM gear, and he would be suspended from wires doing different poses, and they would manipulate the screen in the back.
It was like a
video.
projector screen.
It would project
projector
like
screen.
the city.
It's like a rear projector to make it look as though he was going forward, going backward, top-down views. It was really
and interaction with the Titans, right? So it was like a Titan would walk up and like grab, and like it would look like it's grabbing because it's on the screen through the projector, and like the actual rope work would be manipulated similarly to mirror
and they'd
that.
animate like a slash, and the timing of it, there was only like one or two times where their timing was notably off.
Yes.
And I don't know how they set it up to like if they just knew it perfectly or if they could control with buttons.
There was a backing track, so it's like a musical track. So it's almost as though
he could hear a sound.
They're hitting
They
beats.
were hitting a beat.
Okay.
Yeah, they were waiting for like a dance beat.
Yeah, because not only the slashing, but like obviously if you haven't seen Attack on Titan, sorry,
Spoilers.
like you're a fool. People die. People die in Attack on Titan. They get killed by Titans. And there were a lot of people getting smushed or grabbed by Titans, and every time they would like a hand would come down and they'd blast smoke and the person would roll. You couldn't see it, but they'd roll off screen, or like they would grab.
flash red
Somebody
for
would
the
be
blood.
standing on a platform and they put the screen in front of it. So they're on a platform, but because it's a screen, it'll look like they're on top of a building.
Yes,
and a Titan would smash them, and they would just probably duck under something, but they disappear. It looked like the thing on screen killed them.
So what they used, they would have the screen in the front. So from your perspective, the screen in the front, they would have the person in the back.
Yes.
They would have a spotlight hit. That way you would see the person behind the screen, and you could also see the overlay of the projection. And then what they would do is they would have like an audio cue to smush, and then either they would roll away, or a lot of times they did lighting effects. So they would light everything bright red towards the audience, so it would blind you.
Or if they were on the ground, they'd blast the smoke. Yeah, because not everybody was
smoke.
behind the screen. Sometimes they'd be behind the screen if they needed to appear in a building. Sometimes they'd be on the ground. They could do it anywhere on the stage, which was really cool.
So overall, it was just very thoughtful.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd say that was
design
probably
was
my
great.
favorite
Thoughtful
part,
and
the strongest part of it,
intentional.
was how creative they got with that.
And it was so cool. We were in the mezzanine, so there's orchestra for people who don't go to theater. There's orchestra and there's mezzanine where you're further up. Even from the mezzanine, it looked flawless.
Yeah, the only thing we couldn't see is just like the faces were like if they were doing facial expression, it was a little hard to read that. But like there's Titans, so how much do you care about facial expressions?
And also their voices, that like they really expressed. They could have all been voice actors.
Oh my god, yeah. The Mikasa every time
A
she
bunch
said
of them
Eren.
are.
Oh my god, she sounded just like the voice actress. I don't know her name, but the voice actress there.
I don't remember offhand.
And Armin and Irvin had some stellar screaming moments. And
there's a lot of screaming moments.
A lot. I don't understand how their vocal cords aren't just bloody.
There were a couple lines where they would have everybody screaming, which makes sense for the anime, but like I haven't been to that many plays, but like normally that's not happening where everybody's screaming in a way that sounds like it's ripping out their vocal cords.
Yeah. And
you're like,
the
they got to
mics
do this for
aren't
3
peaking.
days. Yeah.
We
Well, that's because Peak wasn't in this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There was an interview that we did with with the voice actors of My Hero Academia, and you would ask them,
Oh, yeah.
how do you take care of your voices? And basically they're like, the characters wouldn't take care of their voices.
So we just did the same.
Yeah, so we just did the same. And then we eat
Japanese
barbecue.
people do 110% every time. They're like, I'm not going to take care of my voice. That means I'm not trying hard enough.
Plus ultra.
They're always plus et ultra.
So set design was great. Voice acting was great. Acting, any standouts acting?
Armin stole the show for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought he was very so dedicated, animated. Like he had a really cheesy song in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
Which
yes he did.
I was like, where's Armin's
that's actually where
going?
the screen work of that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it was cheesy. So
It was like somebody put together these images in like 2002.
And I think that was the point, because it goes to, so if you, again, spoilers if you haven't watched.
We're just gonna assume you've watched it.
Yeah, assuming you watch it. So in that first couple of scenes where they're talking about, we're gonna see the ocean, we're gonna see salty water.
Yeah, spawning deserts because they don't have no sand, like sand mountains.
And they're talking about all the things they're gonna see. They have a song, and it's like this beautiful, childish, innocent piece that's set right before Attack on Titan.
With glitter and sparkle.
And everybody in the audience clearly knows.
And on the
Attack
background, the image is just like a CG crappy picture of a desert. It's not it's not a video. It's just a picture of a desert and then a picture of lava and a picture of ice, and they're like all. Even though let's say the screen is like 16 by 9, each of them takes up like an eighth of it. So there's a lot of dead space on the screen. They're not using it.
It was made in iMovie in 2006.
Everything got better after that first one, but the first one I was like, are all the visuals going to be like that?
That's why I was nervous where Armin's character
and the sparkling lights to lead them around. Yes. It looked like the Disney intro.
It was so good because I think everybody in the audience knew, and I think the creators knew. They're like, this is not what this is about, and we're going to set it up in such a way that we're just going to pull the rug out from underneath you.
Yeah, and I think literally after...
It was Armin's let it go moment. Let it go.
Didn't he do that, and then was that right after that where the wall fell?
Yeah, right.
So literally that happens, and then thunder stomp.
Yeah, that song cuts, and then you see a huge puppet.
Then you see a huge colossal Titan head.
Yeah. Okay, wait, we'll get to the puppets. Yeah. So Armin was your favorite. Who was your favorite?
Honestly, I don't know if I can judge the acting enough.
Who stood out to you? When you think back
when
to
you
it?
cheered.
Not even good, just actor that
stood
out to you.
It might have been more the role Mikasa did, Erwin for the parts he did, which weren't a lot, obviously. And actually, Hannes was pretty good.
Yeah.
He got some comedic moments, obviously, and put the drunk. They skipped the one part where he pulls him away. They shrunk that down, and it felt a little weird because it was missing the context. But
it missed some of the dramatic beats.
Yeah, but I liked him a lot. But I mean, you guys go to way more of this than I do.
I mean, acting-wise, they all did great, but the two that stood out to me, it wasn't even for one was acting, the other one was just who they are. Sasha was really good.
Actually, Connie,
really
too.
Yeah.
Sasha, Connie, and John were the comedic center of it all, but Sasha just played that hungry hippo so perfectly. And then my second favorite was Levi, because they found a true to size Levi.
That was hilarious.
He was shorter than everybody else in the cast.
And also Sasha got a very, very loud applause. Levi's was louder. It was all women. And that's why they picked somebody to be the right size. So girls could be like, that's my short king.
that's my Bruno Mars boy right over there. Okay, so that's actors, puppets. Steve,
favorite puppet? Or
no,
just
talk about
the puppets were great. I was not sure how they were going to do the Titans. Obviously, the first one you see is the Colossal Titan, and it's this massive thing behind the walls, and the walls split. And that was cool, but it was not moving. At first, it wasn't
it's
moving.
just a head. It was just a head at first.
Big blow up head.
And
when we say big, it's 30 feet.
Yeah. And then they have later on, they have the Armor Titan show up, and it's moving, and they've got guys behind it with sticks, and you can see them. They're wearing black, but they're not completely hiding.
It's like Lion King.
But it's really good.
Yeah.
And he's acting up, punching and hitting Titans. Oh, actually, he wasn't so much. That was that was Aaron's Titan. Which,
Attack Titan.
That was really good because. Again, the timing of it. They'd rush him across the stage like he's doing a lunging punch. I was not expecting him to move quickly.
Yes.
And then the other major point, which surprised me but was clever, was when Eren attacks the Colossal Titan.
Yes.
They have these giant blow-up hands with blown up fingers that at one point it did catch on the stage and you saw it bend.
It was bending back.
But they're massive and he's jumping around in between them and getting
and
pulled up on his ropes.
The
wire work is mixed in with it.
Huge puppets wire work all in the same while people
Yeah.
are singing and dancing, break dancing.
That was
It's
all
wild.
great. The one bad thing is the Attack Titan's head turned in the very last
Yeah.
scene that it was in, and it didn't fully detract. I think we all had the same reaction. We're like,
Yeah.
oh man, like
Everybody
they're
in the audience.
they're Japanese
Yeah.
and they're going to take this really hard because they're going to be like, we messed something up.
Yeah, in an
Emily,
American
You
audience.
actually
Yeah.
pointed it out to me, so you
Well,
were like,
I think this
"She's
was the.
dead."
I
She's
was
dead.
like,
What
this-
Well,
happened?
also, I think that was the first show. This was the first showing, I think.
No, it's the 11th. Yesterday was
Isn't-
the first.
Oh,
show.
today's the 12th. You're right.
So what
Okay,
happened
okay.
with the head?
No, so it was like
It
it
turned-
like unattached on one side, so it was just
So it was
hanging
like
on
up-
by.
it was like
It was like
hanging on and then
it was
it was
hanging.
upside
It was
down.
it was like if you're.
One
It was like a nearly headless Nick situation.
yeah, so it was like it looks
That's
like,
Harry Potter?
It looks
Yeah.
like the attachments.
Sorry,
Where
not a Harry
that's
Potter
fine,
thing.
but okay, I
yeah,
thought
it
maybe
looks like
you'd
the
seen it.
attachments were both here.
Yeah, and
And one of them
unhooked.
came undone, so the head was kind of just lazily.
At first, they didn't.
So, like,
notice
when it
'cause the
turned
hair
around
was
and
so
fall- yeah,
long.
That's why I think it wasn't as huge. Like you really only saw it if they moved the torso and you could see the head.
Yeah,
kind of
because sometimes the head
floppy.
would turn away, so it'd be the hair in front. But you're like, yeah, the Attack on Titan has long hair. It
long
could just be
hair,
in his
yeah.
face.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the hugest deal, but the puppet work was stellar.
Yes.
Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe my favorite part, just because I wasn't sure how they were gonna do Titans.
Yeah.
It made me upset that at the end during the curtain calls, the puppeteers didn't get a chance to bow.
out.
Yeah,
I really wanted them to. It would have been cool if they brought the puppets out and the puppets bowed.
Yeah.
And then the puppeteers
Yeah.
bowed.
Yeah.
But just speaking really quickly of the Titans too, the opening number is Titans, and it's
Yeah.
Titans like
Yeah.
doing, like they were all like showing off their dance
It was like
capabilities and
Cirque
doing
du
like
Soleil
like
meets
arms under your
breakdancing.
legs and like crawling and people doing like handstands and running across the stage, which like was largely just them showing off. But because of how the Titans moved eerily,
Yeah.
it really worked.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was the thing.
They never
For
did them
me,
again. I was expecting that to come back.
The whole show, the dance sequences were all basically like tutting and breakdancing, very like contemporary dance.
Mhm.
Which in the beginning I was questioning. I was like, I don't like this.
I felt the
just
same way at the
because
start.
it felt
Disjointed.
It's not what you
anachronistic
thought. It's not what
to-
you would expect it to be.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
as it continued, I'm like, wow, this is a very physical show.
Yeah.
It makes sense that this is the type of dancing they would use.
Mhm.
So the longer it went, the more I was bought into it, and
Yeah.
I just sort of gave myself into theater, live theater.
I mean, they had it was a very wide range of talent in the
Yeah.
cast. You
Yeah.
had you
It was a
clearly
huge
had
cast too.
huge cast. They like at least I'd say 50 people, right?
And a few of those
Yes.
names I didn't recognize,
Yeah.
like Knock. I'm like, was that
Yeah.
Knock a real
Yeah.
character? I
But,
don't know. But
Probably
Like,
like
they had
30 people plus like another 20
plus
puppets.
the Blade Dancers.
I was gonna say they had so the combination of the cast was like singers, dancers, and then not only like theatrical talented people, but
jazz
also then
talent.
like breakdancing, tutting, like the people who were part of like a dance troupe.
There was one guy who
Quick
spun
learning
on
mo-
his head for like
Quick learning
God,
moment
yeah.
for
3
me
minutes.
and the audience, because I'm sure they don't know and I know, but
Oh,
explain it
tutting?
to them. What is tutting?
tutting is like it's when you use like sharp. I
When they
can't
were
do
doing
it.
the hand
it's
motions?
like sharp 90 degrees. They
Okay.
like very
Yeah.
like geometric using your
Yeah, yeah.
hands and fingers.
Okay,
to
I
create
remember
shapes.
there was a lot of that.
The,
Cool.
So if
Now
anyone's
you all
watched-
know. I
if
knew
anybody
that. I was
watched
just
the,
playing along.
The intro
like
to
King
Link
Tut.
Click.
That's the.
If you
that's
watch
the-
Link Click, it's the intro to Link Click.
Oh, that's
Oh,
a
yes,
great
yes,
that's a
yes.
great reference. And if you don't watch Link Click, you should watch Link Click.
Yeah, if you don't watch Link Click, spoilers. It's not related to
The
Attack on
tutting
Titan.
or tutting, really. It's
tutting.
just the opening.
Nope, it's just the
Yeah,
opening.
but yeah.
But apart from the Titans, because you were talking about the guy spinning on his head,
Yeah.
like some of the dance parts were just wild.
Yeah, they really went for it, and the whole like it wasn't like 5 dancers plus a bunch of actors. Everybody who was acting could also dance.
And a lot of crazy flip maneuvers and things.
Oh,
The
yeah.
guy spinning on his head, I was talking to Carl and Emily about this. Granted, I studied there in 2009, but like, if I went to the train station, there would just be like 15 kids practicing breakdancing every night under the train station. And at the school fair at the end of it, the school had like 5 dance groups, and this is a language school. Like,
Wait, what's
there-
a language school?
like everybody was there to study other languages. Like we as
Okay.
foreigners were there to study Japanese and stuff, but like everybody else there was studying German and French and
Okay,
English
got
and
it.
et cetera. But like this school had dance groups just as evidence of like how big breakdancing was in Japan, and it still
Yeah.
has like, I don't think it's a huge group, but it's a subculture.
That's
And they're clearly
so
into it,
cool.
and they're like, hey, let's get this guy spinning on his head. And when he did it, I was like, this is so Japanese. Is this relevant? And then he kept going. I'm like, this is the best thing ever.
You're gonna try and find him?
Yeah, well,
I think
not
it
find
was
him,
Knock who did it.
but what I was. Well, 2 things. One, in the cast, the person who did the head spin for that long, he was
Yeah.
like a big guy. He was like my
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
Where everybody else was just like skinny mini, little Levi's. This guy probably had like at least 180 pounds on him.
Yeah.
I think it's this guy Kenta here. I'm gonna point them out. But when we looked at the program, we were like, a lot of these people only have one name. Like, what is that? And I think it's just.
I like how we're doing this instead of you just taking a picture and I can just put it on screen.
Oh yeah, Cam Jensen. A lot of them you saw only have like one name, so we were like, what are they? And Steve was like, oh, they might be breakdancers.
Yeah, they're just using a single name for breakdancing.
Yeah.
Because if you're acting, you would like, well, any Japanese actor I'm aware of and voice actors, they use normal names, whole names.
So we talked about the acting, we talked about the dancing, the writing. I mean, it's Attack on Titan. We talked about the sets. What about the songs?
I think there were some really good ones
And some not
really
so good
not
ones.
so good ones.
There were a few that I was like, this is not good. And part of it, I think, was there's two elements. There's the singing element, which I'll let you guys judge.
Yeah.
There's also the translation element because they didn't call them subtitles. I think the email called them super titles, which makes sense because there's a giant screen on either side,
Yeah,
so
we
you
have
can
a
know what's
video
going
of
on.
that. We'll
Yeah. It's
somewhere.
a lot of the translation sounded really weird, like the kind of fan sub of like a manga or an anime where you're like, that's not what they mean. Like you're being a little too literal. They'd be like, "Are sparkling, follow the sparkling," and I'm like, that should have been localized.
Yeah, and which is these days.
But unfortunately, I was focused more on that because I'm like, I can't judge the singing. Like the song's okay.
These days, I feel like there's no excuse for that.
No,
like
especially not for something like this. You could get a couple like folks who live in Japan who speak English, and they could have translated it for
anybody
you.
from the audience who speaks both languages and be like, "Could you do this for free?" And they would.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody would do it for free credit, and then you have 4 of them check each other's work.
Yeah.
Group practice. Because somebody's going to try to sneak their own work in. Yeah,
like some of the breakdancers probably have connections to the language school.
Yeah,
do it for you.
But about the songs themselves, because I can't judge that so much. I know you said there were a couple you didn't like. There were a few that didn't hit for me.
Yeah, I mean, some of them were a little corny, and I was like, this doesn't really fit. Like I mentioned, Armin's song.
Or like the sad song that when the townsfolk, not the one where they're all chanting like "kill them" and stuff, but like a run, but the one where they're just earlier singing about like being sad.
It was Carla singing with Carla and Aaron's mom singing with the townsfolk.
Yeah,
like it would be like town on the super.
Or the one where she's singing with Aaron and Mikasa while they're trying to get her out was like that song didn't really work there.
They're literally like pulling her out from under rubble.
She's like,
and she's singing.
Away,
she's also that part. She was not well in the rubble. Like it was very clear that she was not.
She was adjacent to.
Yeah. But then the other songs like the jazzy number, like that was really fun.
Yeah.
Like I really like to going back, right? So you have the Armin number who was kind of cheesy. Then there was like another number like towards the end. I can't remember exactly what the context was, but it was another anything that was then when it was like cheery and happy. I was kind of like. This doesn't really fit. The only place that I feel like the cheery happiness really fit.
The very beginning.
No, I was gonna say was when they're like graduating from scout camp.
When they were all celebrating together, that one felt like I would have liked to have this in the show.
I whispered that time. I was like, that was my favorite. That was my favorite part of the anime when they had a dance break.
Party.
Yeah, when they had a pizza party after they graduated.
Festival.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was the only time that like the jovial type of song would have worked. But I get that you can't have can't have everything just be a downer.
It's true. Yeah, and I think the music. I mean, none of the music. I'm not gonna go on Spotify. And
it's not standout.
Honestly, the only song that I was really the one that's really catchy is the final one that I thought.
Yeah.
You mean where they told us we could take our phones out, like that one? Yeah.
We have that one.
Because what they did is when it ended, they then said you can now take photos and videos, and they all came out and did a cheerier number together to be like, hey, we're just going to do something to close things out.
They did Can't Stop This Feeling from Trolls.
Yeah, and then they did HOTTOGO.
No.
I was really hoping they would play Hot to Go, but alas, they didn't.
I did want to circle back to the writing, though, because...
Wait, before we get to writing, I want to talk about...
More music stuff?
My music stuff,
Okay, yes, do it.
It's short. I agree with basically everything you guys said. But I will say, I think the use of music was smart where... it's your traditional musical where when the emotions are heightened to a certain point, you can't express it anymore, so you have to break out into song. I think there were more hits than misses in terms of aligning it to it.
It's just the first one was, I think, a miss, and it had me concerned. Like, I was laughing to myself a little bit because I was like, oh, God, please don't let all 18 songs be a cheese ball.
There were some weird genre choices. Like, one song, I think it during one of the training pieces, like when he had his belt on, they did like a jazz number. And I was like, why is this a jazz number?
Yeah.
But again, I think it's
Why are we
because not
breakdancing to a jazz?
not
number?
everything can be depression on a.
It was fun. It was a fun song, but it was a weird shift. But then I was like, okay, this is like I'm getting into it.
Yeah.
Right. But I was just gonna say with the songs, I think it's just inherently a limitation of like, you could get whoever is you think the best writer of music for musicals in the world and be like, here's Attack on Titan, and I don't think they're gonna make all hits. I just don't think it's gonna fit. Like the story is inherently not a perfect fit for musicals, and like this, I think we all agree that's probably
True.
like
That's an interesting.
the writing. The writing. When I say the writing, I also mean the words in the songs are the weakest part. But that's just because it's hard to take this and convert it. I don't think it's inherently a critique of the team who did it, because I think they did. I think what they did is the best you could have done. With,
But I think that's like any.
But
like you look at Les Mis,
the singing, everything else was great. The weakest part was just going to be the writing because of what you're trying to do.
Do you have different thoughts? So like, right, there's plays and there's musicals. I mean, there's been both that's been adapted from anime and manga, right? Like, do you think this would have been stronger as a straight, or do you think it was fine as a musical?
I think it would have been stronger as a straight.
I think
personally, but
I think it's a matter of taste. I think
I also prefer plays.
There are lots of examples of things that have been adapted in multiple ways, and I think it just depends on so many factors, like who's adapting it. What is their experience with this? What is their love or experience with the play, with the original source material as well? Because you can pull different things out of it depending on who you are and where you are in your creative journey. But I think they did a fine job. And you're right, like most musicals, I don't think every song in Les Mis is a hit. I don't think every song in Hamilton is a hit.
Yeah, so that's in no way saying that Attack on Titan did a bad job as a musical. It did a fine job as a musical because they're not all going to be hits.
But they're not all hits, but I don't think there is a hit. Like there's not one song that I'm.
But also, if you told me there was a hit song from the Attack on Titan musical, I'd be like, which opening or ending did they perform? I wouldn't think they wrote a new song. And it's super amazing.
Rumbling. It's just the rumbling on repeat. But anyway,
they didn't sing Sasageo.
Yeah, they didn't sing any of the openings or endings, or I don't think any of the music from the show. I think they ignored all of that and only did their own stuff.
But they did do the 15-minute break with the chalkboard, explaining everything about.
So imagine every commercial break that was in the anime, and they just put it on.
They just did it in a song.
Yeah. So one of the things I want to say was like, what was the moment that like stuck out to you the most? Maybe it's like worst moment, but just that it jumped out to me. There were two. We mentioned info dumps, and there were two. One is they do the scene in the classroom where they're sitting at a table. All the students are sitting facing you like a Last Supper situation, which was just funny. I know why they did it, but it looked like the Last Supper. And Hanji's there like, all right, I'm going to go down the table. We're going to go down the table. Gene was in the middle. Gene was in the middle. He's the betrayer. No, he was the betrayer.
Judas.
He's Judas. Yeah. But so she's like, we're going to go down the table in order and you're going to read to me. They immediately break order on the second person, but they jump down and like in between each person reading, and they would just state a fact about Titans. Titans are giant life forms that do not seem interested in anything other than humans. And
they
like
don't have genitals.
10 of them do it. And they do all of the lessons about Titans from that episode, giving you, and as if, hey, for everybody in the audience who doesn't know Attack on Titan and showed up to the Attack on Titan musical, here's all you need to know about Titans.
They would just and they'd just be like, Wall Maria, Wall Rose, Wall Sheena.
Yeah, but to the point of like, the only way we found to defeat Titans is to cut the oscillatory nerve on the back of the neck. They do that line. That is not relevant. Like, because, and it's specifically not relevant because every time they're doing the ODM gear to fight against the screen, the
vertical maneuvering gear.
The vertical maneuvering gear, the Titans are facing them. Yes. So at no point do they go for the back of the neck.
No.
Anyway, so there was that one, and then Grisha. I laughed my ass off at this moment because it is the most anime moment.
Maybe like 10 minutes before the ending.
Yes, 10 minutes. And everybody's they're about to kill Eren.
Yes,
and
this is the scene right after Eren has the half transformation. The half transformation.
Which, by the way, they did it, and then he just all of a sudden was out of it. That was weird. Yeah. But Armin's like, Eren, is there anything we could tell them that would make you safe? And he goes, oh, I have this key. Oh, flashback. And then Grisha comes from the back and walks forward, and she goes, Eren, I'm giving you this key so that every time you look at it, you will remember to go to the basement. Go to the basement, Eren. Everything you need to know about Titans will be found in the basement. Keep this key with you, and whatever you do, make your way to the basement. And but he says a few other things. But
no, not a few. Like triple the amount
of information. I'm jokingly saying the basement over again.
Amount of time.
He goes, Eren, yeah, and it's like everything that you would need to know to get to this part, which is not in the musical.
And their memories will come in you, and they will guide you, and you have to save Armin, and you have to save Mikasa.
So they threw all that in. Meanwhile, when Eren's upside down on the vertical maneuvering gear, they never tell you about the sabotage. So he's messing it up, and then Shadis just goes, hey, Armin, give him your gear. He does it. Oh, it was malfunctioning. Like, what was the point of that? Like, you're not using it as payoff. He could have just made it.
It was because it was a thing that everybody remembers from the show.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, but it was the info dumps. That was the thing that I was like,
your
oh my
two
god,
favorite
info
parts.
dumps.
And interesting. So then I think my least favorite part was they did not have Rhina and Bertolt.
Yeah, or Annie.
Yes, or Annie.
Annie.
I kept on looking at all like the chairs. To
Me
see, like,
too.
who are there 3 people together? And it was never.
Yeah,
done.
this isn't an anime, so they didn't sneak in the Easter egg characters
Yeah.
for us because they would have
Yeah,
had a.
they were, but they missed.
They
like-
gave us Knock.
But
Who the hell was Knock?
They missed the
Knock,
key
yeah.
scene though of like when they're all in the bunker talking about the attack on Wall Maria.
Yeah.
I was really-
Rhina and Bertolt aren't there asking him
sweating
questions.
bullets.
Did you guys also, when he said the thing like the armor titan isn't that good, I was scanning them like
Yeah.
which one of you is Reiner who's
Yeah.
going to get upset about that?
I was looking for somebody in the back to just go like, who?
Yeah, but it was I don't know why they did that. Why do you think that they?
Save money. You had to cast 3 less people.
But they had these
As
people.
leads.
But they had these people like Knock and stuff. They could have, because Marco died. They could have had Annie and Bertolt and Reiner there up with him.
I think it's a budgetary thing.
It
'cause,
totally
like,
is,
depending
but,
on
like-
if you're a lead or if you're a supporting cast, you get different rates.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in Japan, but
Yeah, but
I
like
get the
they had
idea,
this,
but,
they
like-
had they had this chick Mina Carolina or whatever.
Yeah, the
her
two
name
Mina
people-
is.
Carolina.
the two people-
Not
the
even
two pe-
Carolina. Mina Carolina.
The two
Yeah.
people who were in love with each other, like I don't remember that part.
That both got smushed.
Yeah.
And I was laughing before. I like how you say smushed. That's the technical term.
Yeah, smushed.
Attack on Titan. They either like bite your head off or they smush you.
You're getting smooshies.
Ooh, yeah.
I did go to Kodansha House and I played a Titan and they said, get in there and really smushy that human.
Put the video up.
Oh God.
Put the video up.
No, all right,
It's
here
in.
it is. I got it on my X-Force. I'll have a good video, but I'm gonna put in the bad one that they gave me. That's out of focus.
Oh, and put in the Akira one just for fun. Akira slide.
Anyway, I'm gonna save the Akira slide for another one.
Oh no.
You'll have to bring it up in a future video.
That's gonna be our new intro.
So for you, it was like, which I totally agree. Why would you not? You have all these other characters that nobody
Yeah.
knows.
I feel like
Why
it
not
was
just
a
have
miss.
Reiner and Berthold and Annie?
It was a miss
And it was
for me.
also a miss for me where it ended.
Oh, talk about that part.
So it brought you up to where they find out Eren is a Titan and they develop the plan.
Armin
to
convinces him to then
convinces
everyone not
Erwin
to
to
kill
bring him
him.
to the
Armin with the
basement
great screaming for that part.
and- Oh my god! Like
Yeah.
Guttural.
And Erwin's like, I like the look of your salute.
yeah,
I
you have a
trust
great
you.
salute. Do you not see
like-
how good a salute is?
And when he said that, I was like, that's why they got infiltrated so badly.
So then it brings us to that part, and then Erwin basically convinces everybody to join with Eren to stop or to plug up the wall with the boulder. But then they never show the boulder. They just stop at
Yeah.
that monologue. And
and then it appears on the back, Attack on Titan the musical.
yeah, and then all the main characters come on and they like sort of stand like this and then all pose in like a really cool way.
Yeah.
And it says Attack on Titan the musical. And
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
yeah, and then the end song. It was a really strange choice
Yeah.
to just end there. Like, why didn't they just end that arc?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, just have him put the whole rock in the hole. It didn't have to be a long scene. Just do it and end with like, they say like, we've lost every encounter ever with the Titans. They could have ended it with like, we finally had our success and now we can push forward.
They could have had a song called "Plug the Hole." There was a moment
Yeah.
where,
Yeah.
where
Plug the
Irvin turns to Eren and goes, "Eren, can you plug that hole?" And the whole crowd just
Giggles.
Laugh. And you could tell that on stage they were not expecting. It was one of those things where like, this
It's
is
a
a translation
translation,
thing. Yeah.
Wait, so
But it was
sorry,
real
I'm
fun.
going back to why they didn't. I didn't even catch Annie, but now I'm thinking about it more. And isn't it during the scene where?
Annie's the one that's beating up Eren.
Yeah,
During
and
the whole training.
and also like, isn't it when he like can't balance or something, and then doesn't Erwin? Is that the part where Erwin whispers in his ear and is like, "Who's the real villain or whoever? Like, who do you think the?"
You mean Shadis?
No, I thought Erwin like whispers in.
I don't think
Erin's ear
Erwin was at the
sometime.
training, right?
I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering.
It was 10 years
I
ago.
just feel like
Yeah.
again there were so
Then I
many
watched.
like Easter eggs that are like
Well,
include those three
yeah.
characters.
They did name them at one point when he's asking everybody for the lessons, like how do I balance better? And in the show, Reiner and Bertolt and Annie actually give him some advice. People give him advice, and then someone says you should go ask Reiner's group as well.
Yeah.
And they get named, and I was like, okay, we're gonna talk about them, and that's the only time they will ever come up.
To be fair, we're asking a lot out of a musical.
Correct.
That's based on one of the masterpieces.
That's
of
true.
Yeah. This is
literature
not
in the
me
last
holding a ton of
10
like.
years.
This is not me
No,
being like
we're
take
just-
a
we're
point
just
off their
nitpicking.
score.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like, why wouldn't
I
you
thought it
just
was an
have them?
It's not 1
choice.
point, 10 points.
Considering
off.
how-
0 out of 10.
considering that
according
I
to
think-
Steve.
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh, yeah. What I was going to say is, considering that part of the point of all these plays and musicals is like fans are going to come and geek out over
Yeah.
seeing the characters. Like, Annie's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
People love watching Reiner be depressed.
It might also be an audience of the U.S. versus audience, because in Japan people watch anime more casually. Like more
Well, some people
casual
do.
watchers will watch anime than casual watchers will watch anime in the
I don't know
US.
if I agree with that. A lot of anime airs super late at night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like very, very late at night.
But like it doesn't have a more broad reach.
I mean, sure in that sure in the sense that like younger people might when their kids watch more anime, but then when you get to adults, like there are a lot of adults who watch it and they'll watch like a couple.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like here. I think there's a lot of people like I've been meeting a lot of people who are like they watch Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan, or like they might have seen Demon Slayer, and they hear I watch anime and they're like, oh yeah, let me tell you, and they name like 3 shows and they're like, this is what I watch. I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. Like it's become way more popular in the West now to just be a casual anime watcher.
Well, my point is more so.
Yeah, I lost the point. I'll shut up.
My point is
I
maybe
wasn't following the point.
I thought I was.
No, my
but
point is maybe in Japan there are more people who just like casually watch anime and they're like they don't really care to geek out about it that much, whereas like in the US the people who watch anime are really into anime, admittedly. Like now it's starting to change.
This because I didn't know much about this musical, but like there's a Naruto play, there's a Bleach play.
There's a lot of plays.
Yeah, and like
musicals.
But a lot of them are plays. Like the Naruto one is not a musical. It's not a play.
The Fruits
Musical. It's a
Basket one
play.
is not a musical.
Near Automata, which I'm going to a concert in 2 weeks for that. Like they do a stage play and it's a play and they use it to advance the story. Granted,
it's canon?
Granted, Yoko Taro's a genius. I mean, everything's canon.
Wait,
and Near, we can do like a 5-hour episode and I can try to get into the Drake and Near universe.
Do a 5-hour episode.
But the point I'm making is like people go to those for like the characters. It's not like, oh, I think I want to see the Naruto story for the 20th time. It's like I want to see like real life versions of the characters I love, and I'm gonna get super excited when Sasuke comes on, even though he's a villain and everybody who likes him, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Sorry, I just every chance for a shot at Sasuke. So I think it is surprising to me because I think there's Japanese fans of Annie and Reiner and Bertolt too.
Yeah, no, I think there are.
Yeah.
I think I can't explain it.
To me,
It
it
could
was
be
just
money.
out of all the characters to cut, like like the 3 drivers.
Of all the characters to cut, they cut them, but not Dima Reeves, the guy who put the cart in the thing.
That
huge.
Scene, that was a huge scene.
It was a good scene.
I remembered exactly who Dima Reeves was.
Yeah, we definitely
definitely
didn't read it out loud, and all of us are like, "Who is Reeves?"
Dima Reeves.
Yeah,
You don't
I thought
know
he was.
Dima
I thought he
Reeves?
was the guy in season 3.
I thought he was like the like one of the rich, like Christie's, like
Dima Reeves becomes the Beast Titan.
Okay, we're getting really
he's
off
the
base
cart
here.
titan.
Dima Reeves.
Yeah,
Dima Reeves is the cart titan. Literally the cart titan.
My biggest critique was that Peak wasn't in it.
Yeah, we didn't get to certain characters yet,
But it's okay.
but it was good. It was worth going to.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
Favorite part before we go.
Ooh. Favorite part. I think my favorite part was when they did the like introduction. Like it's Hanji, Levi, and Erwin like looking at the recruits, and they're like naming each person and being like, Sasha's this person, blah blah blah. Like Armin is this person, and
very
like, each
intelligent,
person,
but below average physical.
but like it was definitely like a fan service moment in the sense of like everybody could cheer for their favorite character. That just felt. I was smiling throughout the entire song.
And it felt like the big 3.
Yeah,
Like, not
it
to
was
bring it back
fun.
to My Hero, but it's like, oh my God, Erwin, Levi, and
But like
Hanji.
everyone was able to have their moment.
And
like,
then also
Sasha had,
also just kits.
yeah, like Sasha had her moment. Connie had his moment.
Yeah,
like
everybody
everyone had a moment.
to cheer.
Yeah.
How about you? Favorite moment?
Aside from the Grisha info dump, which just got me completely, them before they finish their training, where they're all like, which I think it might have been original. I don't even remember that in the anime, but where they're all just like hanging out, talking about like what they're doing in training and having fun together.
Yeah.
Like that was cool to see. It felt like, oh yeah, they've been training for years together.
The more humanizing
and
moments.
they've like gotten close. Yeah.
Oh, my favorite part was I didn't call it out in the acting portion, but I really enjoyed Marco. I liked when Marco came out on stage and everyone was like, oh.
Yeah, everybody got really sad because like, oh, you're characterizing this person. How dare you?
You're half a man.
Yeah.
Did you notice at the end when they all like came like
In their scout gear.
They came in the scout gear except for Marco, and I was
Oh, I
like,
didn't catch that.
Yeah.
No.
He's the only one not. But this show did a really good job of humanizing and characterizing him. I
Because
felt
Marco
more
had
for
no
Mark.
real characterization in the show. He
No.
just died, and then
Yeah.
Berthold felt bad, and I was like, "Who's that guy that you're upset about?
Yeah.
Where was
I
he?"
don't even recognize
I,
him.
I literally, when Berthold was complaining, I was like, I straight up do not recognize who that is.
Who's Bertolt? He wasn't in the play.
Exactly.
Oh wait, no, he was. He was a
That's true.
blow-up doll.
Berthold and Reiner were in the play, and Annie wasn't.
Annie
Justice for
wasn't.
Annie.
Justice for Annie. Yeah. All right. Well, that was our take on.
Yeah, I mean,
Attack on
I
Titan the
do
musical.
hope that they bring. I'm sure they're going to have a next core over in Japan if it isn't in production yet already. So I hope that they do start bringing things back over to the U.S.
Yeah, in the same way that we're getting more and more Japanese bands now. I don't know another Japanese stage play that has come to the U.S. yet.
I don't
But I
yet.
wouldn't be surprised if, given how well this sold out, they experiment with a couple more. Like JJK is an obvious one.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, we've got a pretty boy on stage who looks like Gojo, and every girl in the city will buy tickets.
That would be
Also, there's no
amazing
other
to see.
characters. We cut everybody but Gojo.
How would they
It's
do
just
the fight scenes?
It's just Magic Mike Gojo.
Yeah, he's just on stage going, I am the strong under heaven and earth. I'm the strongest.
Twisted. What is it? What is the Disney thing? Twisted.
Oh, Twisted Wonderland.
Twisted
Oh.
Wonderland. They did Jack Skellington, and they basically just made a Gojo clone,
Oh, jeez.
and it's the
I'll show
exact
you.
type of person who's into that. Into that.
If you could pick one, whether or not it actually exists, what anime musical would you want?
So yours
to
is
see?
JJK.
No, I'm just saying that I was talking about like it'd be good of them to bring one up, but like ignore what's real. Just
Ignore
what
what's real.
for fun because you'd love it because it'd be hilarious to see what anime. This is like a weird one to throw on you because
High
anything's
School
out there.
DxD. Duh.
Oh my god.
That'd be the for male audience equivalent of the Magic Mike Gojo one.
Cancel me. High School DxD.
Well, they already have the Fruits Basket play in Japan that I.
Pick another one. Pick
Yeah,
another
I was
one.
gonna say because I could pick Nier, but that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what would be entertaining.
Yu-Gi-Oh! That way they could cast a New Yorker as Joey.
Yeah, that'd
Finally.
be funny.
I'm surprised you didn't say Dan Dan.
I mean, I was trying to think of like why is my answer not Don. You know,
I'm
given
maybe
the
Blue
violence in
Lock.
that, Chainsaw Man would be
Blue
interesting.
Lock. Blue Lock, Chainsaw Man.
Chainsaw Man would be interesting given what they did with that.
Blue Lock, Chainsaw Man, High School DxD. Make it happen, Japan.
Yeah, put those three together, and then the narrator explaining how those worlds have come into each other is Gojo.
Oh,
He just
yes.
did Infinity over and over and over again until every multiverse merged together on
Yeah.
Oh
itself.
my God, it's the.
This is
anime
becoming a fan fiction episode.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, we should
All
do a
right.
fanfic episode.
Yeah, check us out on Tumblr.
Oh, Tumblr.
No.
Check us out on
Live
DeviantArt.
Journal. Live
Live
Journal.
Check us out on Rule 34.
Oh,
Zanga.
check us out on Instagram and on
TikTok,
TikTok at Perfectly Mid.
which will now be appearing on screen, is slowing down my computer. I don't know why this particular image does, but
But
it does.
So should I do it faster?
No, it's fine.
2 thumbs up. Attack on
Four
yeah.
thumbs up.
Yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up, give us a subscribe. It really helps out smaller channels, and we'll be doing more fun stuff. We're going to be at
NYCC.
the day this airs will be the second day of New York Comic Con. We'll be putting up some shorts there, maybe some little games, hopefully, that we're thinking about maybe trying to do. So hopefully we'll have some content coming out of that.
Yeah, if you want to be in a video, let us know.
Yeah, if you're at New York Comic Con, look
make
for
it
us.
happen.
We might be in cosplay,
Yeah.
especially Emily every day. Emily's gonna
I'm
win.
cosplaying now, right?
Emily's gonna win.
I have my
Emily's gonna win the New York Comic Con masquerade.
And I have my ODM pants.
Oh yeah, check us out when we do our masquerade. We're gonna throw our own masquerade so we can all be pros.
Yeah, given our takes, especially 2 episodes ago, they're definitely gonna let us into the masquerade. Emily's safe. I don't know about the 2 of us.
All right.
Bye.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.